I want you to think of something that you just absolutely love. Okay? Now, I want you to partner up with someone. Okay? Pair up with someone in the room. Everyone have a partner. Great. And what I'd like you to do now is pick an A and a B. So does everyone have a partner? Okay. You're left out here. All right, you could be my partner. All right, so now A's, pick an A and a B. Okay, you're going to be the A.
Okay.
All right. So A and a B. A's. What you're going to do. A's. What you're going to do. You are going to tell B's what you are passionate about. Okay. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and you are going to tell them why you are passionate about it, everything about it. Now B's, I want you to completely ignore them. Completely ignore them. Okay. You can do whatever you want. You can look at your phone. You can write. I don't care what you do, but I want you to ignore them. And A's, I just want you to really be passionate and try and convince them about what you are passionate about. All right? I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and you're going to go. All right? Ready, and go. Because I'm just tired.
I really like frozen yogurt. I love it so much. It's just something that my friends from home and I bond over. Like, there's so many frozen yogurt pianos around my neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods, and we go to all these.
I'm watching my clock here.
We always try to like rank them. And my personal favorites are the ones where you serve yourself and you can take as much as you want. They always have the best toppings. And let's say there's red mango. That's my favorite. But not the red mango. Red mango. But they have the best frozen yogurt ever. And then after that, my second favorite frozen yogurt place is Private Cups in Clifton. And it's great, except the only thing that's wrong with it is sometimes the frozen yogurt is too sweet.
Okay, and switch, and switch. Switch, so now B's, you're going to talk to A's, and A's, you are going to ignore the B's. Go.
I'm really passionate about speaking Spanish, and I went to Spain when I was a sophomore, and I lived
really passionate about
and I lived there. I lived in Madrid. I lived there for 7 months, and really had a good time. I've been back 2 times since.
You know, actually, I do love the beach. I was ignoring you. Pretty much.
I like traveling. Anytime I don't have to work, traveling is a lot of fun.
I guess one of the reasons
Okay. All right, and stop. Okay, so what was that like trying to talk to someone who's completely ignoring you?
Awkward.
It's awkward, right? What else?
run out of things to say.
Uncomfortable?
Yeah, you run out of things to say, it's uncomfortable. What else?
Kind of feels like noise to you.
Yeah, it's noise.
Yeah, just doing the just in your head, blah blah blah. You know, it's real easy to do. Although it's almost ludicrous. You know, if you're so used to trying to listen and have a conversation and try to go outside that experience. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, because, you know, think about it, like, people aren't really listening to you. And now this is something that you were passionate about, right? Think about if it was just something else you were talking about, right? If they're not listening to something that you're totally engaged in and you want them to listen, then, gosh, are they even listening when you're not a part of the conversation? You're just kind of like, it's like I'm reporting the weather, right? So now here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it one more time, okay, for a minute, but this time now, okay, A is going to go first again. This time, B, I want you to be so interested. So interested in what they have to say. All right? Like, really pay attention to what they have to say. All right? Ready, go.
Okay, so I love frozen yogurt. So did that my favorite dad really and it's my brother that was so I'm dining hall, even though it's not my favorite. After elementary school, so I'm starting to that's one of the things I just love that bond over is going around middle school. You like to walk the challenge that has.
Yeah, I like a favorite way.
So those are my 25 minutes over my house. I just go out and they're very long.
Okay, and switch. And switch.
Like I was saying before, really enjoyed speaking Spanish. Fluent. Studied it. It was one of my majors here. And I lived abroad in Spain.
Did you work there, or was it study abroad?
It was just study abroad, so I did like 7 months in Spain. So I did speak English for 7 months. Like I did call home with that. Just about it. Really loved it. And been back like a million times ever since.
Would you ever go and work there again?
Yes. The reason I chose the firm that I'm working at is because they were like a career in offices all over the world. Then we have plenty of offices in Spain. So like I've only been working there for 4 years, but my goal in the next 5 is to just transfer.
So how's your Spanish now that you're not over there? Is it hard to know?
Yeah, it's a little rusty. I go back like a
Okay, and stop.
practice.
Okay, so what was the difference between those two conversations? Was someone actually paying attention? What were some of the things you noticed that were different?
You get interaction back.
Yeah, you get feedback, right? One of the biggest things I had trouble with when I first started, when I came out of school, was eye contact. I took public speaking classes here, and I don't know what they're teaching you in public speaking now, but in public speaking, we were always taught, look at the back of the room and look over everyone, so then everyone thinks that you're talking to them, right? And it doesn't work in like a real small room like this, because you're all probably going like, why is she staring at the board, right? But maybe down where the keynote speaker, had she looked out over the crowd, you wouldn't have really known who she was looking at, right? So one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is making eye contact, because guess what? Even if you're not interested, you can fake interest, right? Because how can you not really be interested in something if you're making eye contact with someone? So when I was talking with Julie, when we went through the second time around, I made sure to have eye contact the whole time. Sometimes it might make people uncomfortable because they're not used to it. Think about it, right? How many times you walking down the street anywhere, and I'm not just talking about in like a scary, alleyway somewhere, just like even if you're walking across campus, how many people are just like doing their own thing, right? They're not paying attention. And even now it's worse because everyone's texting and they're on their Blackberries, they're doing all sorts of other things, so they're totally distracted. So communication isn't just one-sided. It isn't just, hey, here's what I have to say, but it's also listening. So make eye contact and really be interested. Again, even if you're not. I tell my soccer players all the time, I'm like, just when I call them all in, I'm like, look at me. Just look at me, and I won't even know if you're listening or not. As long as you're looking at me, then at least you're paying attention. And the one thing that they did teach us in coaching too is if you're talking to large groups, don't have something more interesting than you behind you, because they're all going to be looking at that, no matter what it is. So, so that's that one. The next thing is, again, when you're talking and you really want to enroll people in things, you want to be clear and concise, and you want to speak to the point. I don't have an activity for this, but I did have a brief consulting job right when I got out of graduate school. And I worked for this woman who had her own business, and I made a lot of phone calls to vendors and clients. And the one thing that she said to me was that I talk too fast. And it used to make me, then I would get all self-conscious when I was leaving messages. But so if I ever, and this was also before caller ID, so it's not like someone's number would pop up, so I'd be like, hi, this is Danielle Fagan from Francis Group Marketing Consulting Group. Please give me a call back, 610-505-5567. Thanks, bye. Boom, done. Now, if I leave messages, people are probably like, okay, we've got your name, you've said it 4 times, we've said your number 4 times. Okay, it's just the idea of speaking slower, speaking clearly, and having repetition. I mean, you can never say something too many times, just so that people get your point. I had another position after that. I worked for Herman Miller Spectrum, where I was a project manager, eventually moved into account management, and then I finally got to do the job that I really wanted to do after being there 5 years. I moved in to be the director and manager of marketing and communications. So we worked in a lot of team settings there, and there was a lot of different interactions with coworkers, and you know, we could talk all about personality tests and, oh, you're a director, you're the type of person that's just kind of hangs out and wants to listen to everybody else, but that, you know, none of that really matters at this point. The point is that we're all different. It doesn't matter what type of a communicator you are, but that everyone brings something different to the table, and there are different interpretations. So for example, I had, you know, Herman Miller is one of the top 3 manufacturers of office furniture in the country. So really exciting stuff, I know. But the thing is with them is that my clients, who I sold office furniture to, and big clients, I'm talking like Vanguard, Deloitte Consulting, SAP America, WL Gore. These were big, big buildings. It wasn't like, you know, someone calling up saying I need a desk and a chair. It was someone calling up saying I need, you know, 1,000 cubicles type of a thing. And so, you know, their chairs would be on back order and people would freak out. And I could never understand why people were so upset. You know, like, why are you upset? They're just chairs. But again, it's how, and you know, then I would say that. I'd be like, why are you upset? They're just chairs. But that doesn't go over so well when you've sold them the chairs and they need the chairs for all their people to sit in. So another exercise that is pretty cool, just to basically demonstrate and highlight how everyone interprets things different and people have different priorities, is this fun little exercise number 3 called Draw a Bug. So flip over on the back of your paper, and we are going to draw a bug together. And we're going to see how close we can all get to drawing the same thing. Now, I've already drawn mine. So here's how it goes. Okay, I'm going to describe the bug to you, and you're going to draw it on your paper. Okay, so here's the first thing. The bug is round. The bug is round. And the bug has 8 legs that are grouped in pairs with 4 legs on the left and 4 legs on the right. And in the pairs, 1 leg is longer than the other. So again, the bug has 8 legs. It's grouped in pairs with 4 legs on the left and 4 legs on the right. In the pairs, 1 leg is longer than the other. The bug has 2 eyes on top of the body. The bug has 2 squiggly antennae. The bug has 2 pea-pod-shaped wings. Hurry up, draw faster. The bug has 2 eyes on top of the body, as I said. The bug has 2 squiggly antennae. What's the matter with you? Can't you keep up? The bug has 2 pea-pod-shaped wings. Pea pods. You know what pea pods are, right? The bug has a spot next to each wing. The bug has a triangular stinger on the bottom of the body. The bug has 2 feelers on each foot, 1 longer than the other, both coming from the same side of the leg. Again, the bug has 2 feelers on each foot. Don't ask me what a feeler is. 1 longer than the other, both coming from the same side of the leg. The bug has a round mouth placed between the 2 eyes. Hopefully you didn't draw them too close together already. And the bug laid 5 square eggs to the left of the stinger. Is everyone done with their bug? Okay, hold up your bugs. All pretty close. Wow, that one's good. All right, so all the bugs looked different, right? None of them looked exactly the same, right? If you compare them to the people around you, take a look, everyone's a little bit different. Okay, now what would have been all right, what did you notice about my communication to you in drawing the bug?
It was easier to draw when you spoke slowly.
When I spoke slowly, what else?
When you paused, for every pause, then you had a quick draw.
Right? What else? Did you hear anything else I said, or? Detail. Okay, anything else? How about tone of voice? What did it sound like to you? Well, all right, let me ask you this. Did you feel like you were under any sort of pressure to draw this bug?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, maybe a little bit. You were like, oh, you know, right? But did I say you were going to get graded on it? No. Did I tell you that we were under a time constraint? But did my communication to you indicate that? Yes. How?
You gave like 3 in a row.
Yeah. At one point I was like, keep up, people. Right? And, you know, did anyone think that I made them, did anyone feel like, what does she think, I'm stupid, when I said, you all know what a pea pod looks like? Did you even notice that I said that? Right? And you're probably like, of course I know what a pea pod looks like.
I was trying to think what a pea pod.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
But then you started questioning, like, wait, maybe I don't know what a pea pod looks like. Hold on, right? So again, if I had given you all of these descriptions, and you could all read them completely different to somebody, and have them draw the bug, things could change, right? You know, people could be, I could have said to you, all right, we have 1 minute to draw this bug, and let's go, right? And that would have changed it for you. Or I would have said, I'm going to collect all your bugs, and we're going to pick the best one, right? So again, how you communicate, you know, and when you're speaking to people, again, it's making the eye contact. I could have walked around the room and said, wow, yours is really good, and how would that have made you feel, right? Yeah, you would have been like, wait, and then you'd be looking at hers. So again, just be careful in your communication too. Sometimes, you know, one of the things that I learned in coaching and also is acknowledgement and praise. Okay, do it in public, right? How many times are people acknowledged and praised in public? Do you hear that? Not a lot, right? Most of the time it's bad stuff. We always hear the bad stuff, and it flies all over the internet and Twitter and everywhere else. So communicate, like, let's start communicating some of the positive stuff that's out there. Okay, so that was my, you know, my lesson at my job with Herman Miller Spectrum, and I learned how to draw a bug. But basically the thing is that people interpret things differently. Okay, and you've got to figure out what people's priorities are, and what people are up to, and what their goals are, so that you can ask the right questions. Because I also could have done this a different way, and I have done it different ways with teams when I've worked with them, is I've allowed them to ask questions, especially when I'm working with people who are really, really inquisitive, i.e. 10-year-olds. Okay, but also, you know, when I've worked with, I've done this with some AP classes, and you know, they want to ask me a million. I'm like, we're just drawing a bug. But if you were able to ask questions, then it might have changed the way that you had done things. So again, in the communication, see if, you know, in two-way communication, it's always good if you can have the opportunity to ask questions. So the final part, so after I did my 7 years in corporate America, so started out, you know, with my undergraduate and graduate degree at Villanova, worked for a small consulting company for a few months before I worked with Herman Miller Spectrum, worked with them for 6 years. I then also went and I taught English and writing for a year at Montgomery County Community College. And then from there, I worked for another consulting company for about 6 months. And the big thing that I did learn from them was that, you know, be honest in your communication. And that doesn't mean, you know, that you should not lie. In a sense, it's just, you know, be authentic with what you're talking about. Because, you know, people, like when we did the exercise with something that you're passionate about, I could have also done it with talk about something that you either know nothing about, okay, you know, like I could have said to you, all right, I would like Stacy, I would like you to talk to, how do you pronounce your name? Danielle, I'd like you to talk to her about brain surgery, right? And how hard would that have been, right? Because you don't really, I'm just guessing you probably don't know much about brain surgery. Just throwing it out there, right? Okay. The other thing too is that you probably need to be a lot more engaged in a conversation when you're not sure what the other person is talking about. It's very simple. I mean, it's kind of like, why is she telling us this? Because we already know this, but it's so basic that people just totally overlook it. You know, it's like, why am I paying attention to this person? Like, I don't even care about brain surgery. Why would I listen to her? And why would I talk about brain surgery if I know nothing about it? But what would be authentic if you knew nothing about brain surgery and I told you to talk to her about it? What would be an authentic piece of communication you could have with her?
No, I don't know anything.
Absolutely. You could just be upfront and be like, listen, I know nothing about this. Right? And that's the other thing that comes through in communication. If you don't know something about it, it's going to start to show. Whether you could talk a great game, but your body language is going to be like, whew, I have no clue what I'm talking about. And again, it's not going to matter what you're saying. It's going to be how you're presenting it. So finally, after my stint in corporate America and with consulting companies, I said, you know what, I'm going to be a soccer coach. And I'm going to run my own business. And great, this is going to be great. Now I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to deal with anyone. But now I have to talk to more people than ever. Now I have to talk to kids. I have to talk to administrators. I have to talk to parents. I have to talk to club administrators. I have to deal with vendors because I'm now running my own business. So I'm ordering things. I have an accountant. I have a lawyer. I have all these people I have to talk to. I have coaches who now work for me. And I need to talk to them about how they talk to other people and how things like that they say come across to other people. So one thing that I think is really, really critical too is getting your word across. And you'll see it at the bottom of this handout. I say what you mean what you say, and make sure others know what you mean. And I've said this to teams, and I say this to my staff all the time. Don't just say stuff to say it. So say what you mean and mean what you say. Have something behind it so that everybody understands what you mean. So here's what we're going to do for my last activity. Anyone an engineer in here? Probably not, since this is a business conference. Anyone really good with blocks? So here's I'm going to explain the activity to you. It's basically I have made a small structure here behind here. It was very complicated, and I made it with these exact blocks. Okay, so what I need are 3 volunteers. One person is going to be the director. You're going to stand back here and look at my building, and you're going to explain to a runner what it looks like, and the runner, there's really no running involved. The runner is going to then go over to the builder, who's actually going to build what my building looks like, and you're going to build it right over here on this chair. So I need 3 volunteers. Who would like to be the director? Somebody who likes to be in charge, who would like to explain how this is going to go. Who wants to be the director? Come on, thank you for volunteering. Catherine, is it?
Yep.
All right, Catherine, so you're going to stand. Actually, we're going to make this really interesting. You're going to be out here. Come on up here. Okay, so you're coming in here because you have to, yep, check it out. All right, who would like to be the runner that goes back and forth? Sure, study it, check it out. You want to be the runner? Stacy, right? Okay, so Stacy, come on up. Who's going to actually build it? All right, let's have 2 builders. Make it even more interesting. Go for it. Now we have some real teamwork here. All right, so, and now I am going to give you 5 minutes to build this. 5 minutes.
Wait, so I'm telling Stacy and then she's relaying the message?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and Stacy's going to go out in the hallway and tell, who do we have out there? Christine?
Annie.
Christine and Annie are going to build this superstructure.
Can you fix it?
I sure can. And guess what? I have built it a number of times.
Okay.
So I really have don't worry, I have no attachment to the way it was built in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And maybe it's easier now that you've, it's been demoed and reconstructed.
Okay.
Okay, so you now have 5 minutes starting now. Go.
Okay. So take the 2 big blue pieces that are shaped like rectangles and look at them vertically and put them side to side. And you're going to take a small yellow square and connect them
Are they going
on the bottom.
long ways, or are they next to each other?
They're next to each other, but vertically. Portrait.
Okay, go.
Go.
Take the 2 blue ones and put Yellow square. What color square is it?
Yellow.
Yellow square.
On the bottom.
Is it connecting them together?
Yes.
You can pick it up but just don't put it up
I'm
up
afraid
there.
I'm gonna break it.
That's all right. I got it at Five Below. It was very expensive.
So it's blue and then yellow on top.
Yes.
Blue in the middle.
Yes,
Okay.
on the bottom middle. And then you're going to take one yellow square and one red square, and you're going to form a triangle with them. Form a triangle with the yellow block you have already, with the yellow on the left and the red on the right, on top of the blues.
Okay, yellow on the red. Yellow on the red.
Okay, now you're going to take the other red square and put it on top of the yellow square. That's on the top left of the blue. Yellow square,
Not the middle.
red
yellow
square on top of yellow square, not the middle square. The other yellow square. Okay, so there's a red square, a yellow square, and another yellow square. You're going to take a red square and put it on top of this yellow square.
Okay. Red square, put it on top of that, yes.
Okay. Now
All that. for
there's
one thing.
going to be two green weird shaped ones that are like squares, but there's only two nubs. You're going to take one of them and put it on, so you have the triangle of squares. You have the red, yellow, and then now red. You're going to take the green one and put it on this red one, facing that way. So it's going to be hanging
Where's
over a little.
the thing?
It's humping over like off
Okay.
the side. And then you're
Off
going
the
to
side of what?
off the
Which
side
one?
of the red square.
The top red square.
Top red, well there's going to be two now, but like the lower of the two, because one is raised, the lower of the two is going to hang off the other side, and you're going to take the other one and put it off the other direction of the other red square.
So who wants to help out here? What do you think about the information she's giving? It's very detailed, right?
Yeah.
How do you think it could be better?
Okay, got it. Now you're going to take a yellow square and put it back to back with the one green square that still has the higher up of the green one, like the one that's raised. You're going to take a yellow square and put it back to back with that and have it hanging over the other side. And then
Okay, one second.
okay.
So do you think maybe she's giving too much information?
One time,
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, and now you're going to take the remaining red square and put it on top of the yellow and the green. I think so.
Oh, touch your head.
Okay, now you're going to take the weird shaped blue one and the yellow one that you used to initially connect the two big blue ones, you're going to hang it off the side that doesn't have the raised part yet. So the side that's lower, you're going to hang the blue off that side.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay, you got it.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, you have 1 minute.
Okay. Can I tell her if that wasn't right or no? Should I just go with it?
Just go with it.
Okay. So now there's going to be a long red one, and you're going to connect the long red one to what you have already. Okay, so you have the two blue ones underneath, the two long blue ones. The red one is going to be like this underneath one of the blue ones, and you're going to connect it to what you have already using the red weird shaped one.
So this goes this way, that's only the opposite way, and then, yeah.
Okay, as soon as you finish that part, just carry the chair back in, and we're going to take a look at the two. I know it's not complete, but just bring it back in because I want to see how we did. Okay, so pretty close. Pretty close. So, just quick question for you. The weird shape piece, what does that mean? Did you guys understand what that meant?
The one that's not like the rest.
The one that's not like the others. Okay, good. How else could you have described it besides the weird shaped piece?
I said the one with the two nubs on it.
Right, that was good. Well, how else could you have described that?
Curve.
Yeah, it's got a curved top to it, right? Okay. How did you feel about the information she was giving you?
It was a lot.
It was a lot, right? You were overwhelmed, right? How did you guys feel about the information you were? I know you could kind of hear what she was saying too, because I could see you were like, oh, I knew what she's going to tell us next. And we do that a lot of times too, right? You jump ahead in conversations. When you're listening to people talk, you're like, I know what they're going to say next. Or you ever do that? I do this. Do you ever do this? So I'll be sitting in a room just like you guys, and the presenter will be up here, and the presenter will be like, we'll have like a brain freeze, and we'll be like at a loss for a word. And I'm thinking of like 10 words he or she could have put in that sentence. I'm like, come on, like, well, you know. But it's different, when you're standing up in front of everyone and you have to think on your feet. And so, it's really, really important. And this is what really demonstrates my topic, is that sometimes you might not be saying what you think you're saying. Right? I mean, her descriptions were very detailed. They were very thorough, right? But we could interpret the weird shaped piece in any way we wanted to, okay? And it looks pretty close. It's pretty similar. So people have different interpretations. How did you guys feel when I said we only had a minute left?
A little rushed.
Yeah, a little rushed, right? So in communication, again, you don't want to rush people, but you want to give just enough information. And you want to be as specific as you can, but sometimes maybe not too specific, right? And you want to be clear and concise, not like the weird shaped piece. I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying, because that's how everybody else, I mean, when I bought this set, I was like, what is that? Weird shaped piece. All right, thanks for helping out. Have a seat, thank you. So, just to recap, it's really, it's not always what you're saying, but it's how you're saying it, and it's how you're presenting it. Tone of voice. I mean, there's so many things that you could say. We could have read the same exact sentence 10 different ways to have 10 different meanings. Think about the mood that you're in, how you approach people. Are you making eye contact? Are you listening? And what kind of detail are you giving people? And asking them if they get what you're saying, just so that so that you're clear. Because sometimes people will be like, "Yep, I got it," and they walk away, right? And they're building something completely different. And it doesn't have to be a building, right? I mean, we're all not going to walk out of here and build Legos, right? But it could be anything. I had in one of my positions, I went on a sales call with my manager, and we went out, and it was my first time going out on a call with her. And we did all this information, did all this research, and I came back it was a Friday afternoon, I came back to the office. Monday morning, she says to me, well, where's the proposal? I expected it on my desk first thing. Really? We got back to the office at like 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I'm thinking, it's weekend, see ya. See you Monday morning, I'll work on it Monday. So, clarifying your expectations, defining the expectations. I had no idea that she expected that on a Monday morning. And then I made the mistake of saying to her, well, then I thought we were going to meet, and my interpretation, well, I thought we were going to meet and then go over everything. She's like, no, why do you think I brought you to the meeting with me? So you could get everything and do the proposal, not so that we could then come back and talk about it. So a little bit of miscommunication there, and certainly different expectations. So again, just overall, just being clear, concise, make eye contact, punctuate. Does anyone have any questions? Comments? Yes?
I think it's so interesting that you bring up communication in different contexts, especially in like a work setting. I think just getting used to different people's personalities and like the corporate culture, like even the way that people send emails is different depending on where you are. Some people are in a really fast-paced environment, so they're sending things really quickly, and you need to figure out how to interpret that, and a lot of times it is not communicated clearly. And then you've got, a boss coming to you basically saying, well, that wasn't what I meant, and you feel like you're the one that's at fault for it. And so it's just really interesting to think that it's a two-way street. Communication is not just somebody delivering a message and it's always heard, because it isn't, because the person that is listening has to really take that in. So I think, culture-wise, in terms of different organizations and things like that, it's really interesting to see how different it can be.
And brings me to one other point. When I was a project manager, I worked on a team when I worked for Herman Miller, and there was a designer, a salesperson, and a sales associate, and I was the project manager. So I then, the salesperson would make the sale, the sales associate would help with all the number crunching and putting the proposal together and everything else. The designer was designing the space, and I was basically just pulling it all together. I was the one interfacing, I was kind of at the end of the assembly line, if you will. I was interfacing with construction people. I sat in construction meetings. I sat in 8 weeks of construction meetings, listening to them talk about the UPS, and I'm like, wow, UPS delivers here a lot. No, it's the universal power supply in a building. And I'm thinking the big brown truck the whole time. And I used to, and again, I was always the one under the deadline because I was at the end of the assembly line and I had to pull everything together and get it going. And I remember one morning walking into the designer's area, and I walked in and I was like, I need the drawings now. I need the blueprints now. And the first thing she said to me was, "Good morning, Danielle." And I was like, "Oh, good morning." So it's like, even though you're in a rush, you're sometimes just being considerate of other people. And I do that to my players now. They'll come running out, "Danielle, can you tie my shoes?" "Good afternoon. Emily, did you have a good day at school today?" And then, oh, hi Danielle, how are you? It's like, have conversations with people, right? And you may need something. So then it changed. So the next time I'm like, "Hey, Marcia, how are you? Did you have a good weekend?" "Great. Can I have those drawings?" Right? But then it just became a joke, and we could laugh about it. But again, it's just, you never know what other people have going on. You don't know, and the other thing that I meant to bring up earlier, when I talked about when people are talking, what are you thinking about? You're also interpreting, you're judging, you're assessing, and you're always thinking, well, what does she mean by that? What does she mean by that? Well, what about that? Like if someone says to you, well, that's just not good enough. Well, what does she mean by that? Or great commercial that's on TV right now for the guy, I'm sure you've all seen it. He's got the slow service on his phone, and everyone's having tacos outside of the office. Have you seen that one? He's like, "Hey, I would have liked to have had tacos. You didn't invite me for tacos." And then all of a sudden, the text message comes through, "Tacos outside of Joe's office," or whatever. Same thing. Like this guy's walking up. He's like, "What? What? You don't like me? What'd you invite him for? You don't even like him." Right? We start to assign meaning to things, and we make judgments, we make assumptions, and it's all in communication. Nobody said anything to this guy. All he did was walk up and just start, assuming that he wasn't invited to the taco party. So, anyway, thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm here for another session, and my website is on there and my email. Actually, I forgot to put my email address on there. Bad communication. My website is on there, and if you want my phone number or email, let me know. I also have business cards too if you have any further questions. So thank you very much.